Yes, you can write your name on that. Okay, guys. So what is the title of this story? Good. So what do you think it's about if it's adapting to survive? What do you think?
I think it's about how animals adapt to survive in their environment.
I think you're probably right about that's a good prediction. So did you guys learn about adaptations in ELD?
Yes.
Okay, who can raise your hand and tell me about an animal and one of its adaptations? How about you, Abby? The Arctic fox, what's its adaptation? Oh, that's true. That's really interesting. How about you, Jimenez? The camel, what's the adaptation the camel has? That's true, it does. Do you remember what it can do with its humps, anybody? With a camel? Yes.
It stores fat in it, and then you could change it to water.
Yeah, why do you think that it needs to do that?
So it can survive in the hot desert.
Yeah, is there a lot of water in the desert?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Anybody else have an animal you wanted to mention? Yeah, one.
Lion.
A lion. What's the adaptation of a lion?
It has its mane to so when if an animal bites out on a knife, then the mane protects it.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's like dogs. They have a lot of yeah, they have fur and just their neck skin, so they can be picked up by their mom by their neck. So that's really interesting. That's kind of similar to the lion. Anything else?
Huh?
On lions?
No, I did
On the king cobra, is there an adaptation that the king cobra has?
So I put it in their box here. Okay. So I forgot your number. I should just keep one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I'll find it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'll put it inside the box.
Another one is
One for you and then two.
the predator gets too close.
Mm-hmm.
The king cobra spit will spray out venom.
Oh gosh, what does the venom do?
And the king cobra penetrates into the eye.
Oh, okay. And what about, you said that it can make itself look bigger. Why would it want to do that?
So the predator that's trying to eat it will think that it's a small prey.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. Did you have something you want to add?
Horned lizard.
A horned lizard. What does it do? What's its adaptation?
It has like red chemicals that come out of its eyes and
All right, you guys watched a video about that, right? That was kind of gross, wasn't it? Yeah. All right. Cool. Okay, well, it seems like you guys know a lot about animal adaptations. So I think this is going to be pretty easy for you guys to go through. Let's see. So I have a couple words that I want to see if you guys know them. So what does the word adapt mean? What do you think? If I say, the camel adapted to its environment by changing the color of its fur to blend in with the sand. Could you make an educated guess? What do you think adapt would mean? Does it stay the same or does it do something else?
camouflages.
It camouflages. Is it staying the same or is it making something that starts with a CH? What do you think?
It goes through adaptation means that learn how to survive in the changes of its environment.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? It has to change something so it can survive, right?
That's the CH one?
Yeah, that was the CH word I was thinking of. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. You would have come up with it on your own. Good. All right. Awesome. You guys know a lot about adaptations. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's what it means to adapt, right? Is to change. And we adapt to things, all the time. Like, before you came to school and maybe you just slept until 9 a.m. And then you had to adapt and you had to get up really early so you could catch the bus, right? So we all adapt, not just animals. I have another word that I'm going to ask you about. What does the word survive mean? You guys have used it in a sentence. How about you, Tovar? What do you think?
Survive means to stay alive.
Perfect. Yeah, to not die, to stay alive. I like it. All right. I have another word. What is something physical? What do you think something physical is? That's true. Yeah, when you move, that is physical. What do you move? That's something physical. What do you think?
I have another one for physical.
Okay.
You could do physical exercise.
Yeah, so physical exercise is about moving what?
body.
Your body. Yeah, awesome. I love it. And then what about the word behavioral? What do you think behavioral means? Or what is the behavior? Behavior or behavior? What do you think?
Behavior means the way you act.
The way you act, exactly. So if I'm talking about a behavioral characteristic, what would that mean? What would you say that means?
Something about the behavior and the environment.
Yeah, exactly. Something about their behavior, right? Behavior is the noun form, so I could say you have very bad behavior, right? Or I could say behavioral is our adjective form. So the behavioral manner is not good. That would be a different way of saying like basically the same thing, but using it as an adjective or a noun. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're going to work on reading this together. I'm going to read it to you guys. We're going to read it all together, and then you're going to read it by yourselves, and we're going to answer the questions. So while we're working on this, I want to ask, what are the classroom rules that you think need to be followed while we're doing this? What do you think? Yeah, what are some classroom rules that we need to keep in mind while we're working together? Yes.
Stay quiet but not too quiet.
Stay quiet, but not too quiet. When should you stay quiet and when should you talk? What do you think?
You should stay quiet when someone else is speaking, or you should talk when your teacher says to speak.
All right, yeah, or if you raise your hand, I like it. What's another classroom rule we might want to keep in mind? What do you think?
Listen attentively.
Yeah, listen attentively. I like that one. What do you think, Abby?
Respectful.
Be respectful. Yeah, I think you guys are being very respectful, so I appreciate that. What do you think, Jimenez? Don't be playing around. I like that rule too. Yeah, what do you think?
Respectful.
Be respectful. Yeah, okay.
Be responsible.
Be responsible. How can you be responsible when you're working in a group? What do you think?
Let everyone be
Let everyone have a turn? That is very responsible. What do you think? Yeah, let me make sure everyone participates. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Sorry, I have to keep looking at this paper so I can know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so we talked about all of those. We talked about all the words. There's a really small picture that you can see on the top near your heading, right? So, yeah, you're right. It's very hard to see, but it is an elephant. What do you think this text is going to be about? If you read the title and you look at the picture, what would you predict? Yes.
It's about it's about adapting and ways to stay alive.
And ways to stay alive? Yeah. Anything else, Abby?
It's about how elephants adapt.
Maybe it's about how elephants adapt to survive. What do you think, Bautista?
I think it's about how animals survive and adapt to changes in the environment.
That could very well be it. I think those are really good predictions that you guys have for this. Okay, where's the title? Okay. Okay, so take a look at the questions on the side. So on the side, will somebody raise your hand and read question number 1? Go ahead, Marlon.
What are the two main ways that an organism adapts?
Perfect. What are the two main ways an organism adapts? Does anyone know what an organism is? Yeah? Do you know?
I think organism means where things live.
A living thing, right? An organism. So give me an example of an organism. What do you think, Marlon? What's an example of an organism?
A dog.
A dog. I love that example. What would you say, Bautista? Yeah, we're living organisms. Good. Who wants to read number 2? Go ahead, Jimenez.
What is one animal adaptation you read about in the past?
Perfect. Who wants to read number 3? How about you, Tovar?
Is the animal adaptation
Perfect. Is it a physical or behavioral? And how about number 4? Go ahead, Batista.
What is one plant adaptation you read about in the passage?
Perfect. And then the last one, number 5. Jimenez, did you want to read this one? Mm-hmm.
Adaptation you choose or with a physical or behavioral adaptation.
Awesome. Good job, guys. Good job reading the questions. If I wanted to find the answers to these questions, what do you think I would need to do? What would you say, Juan?
Read the passage.
Read the passage. Okay. I think that's a really good way to find the answer. When I read the passage, how do I know that it answers the question? What should I do? What do you think, Bautista?
You should go to the passage
Mm-hmm.
and find the part where the question is.
Mm-hmm. And then what might I do with my pencil or my highlighter? What do you think, Abby?
What? Your AI? You finished it? I don't know what you.
Good.
Who else says he finished the test? So then what does he do?
Good. Yeah, so you can circle where you found the answer. You might even want to write the number of what question it answered. Is that what you're going to say? I'm sorry, I should have let you say that. Good. Yeah, good. I'm glad you guys are thinking about that. That's really important. Okay, so yeah, that's a really easy thing to do. And then after you've circled it, you found your answer, maybe you wrote down number 1 or number 2, wherever it goes, what would be the last thing you would do with that information? What would you say? Yes, you would write the answer under the question. I like it. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the text, and I want you guys to follow along. Make sure you're looking and you're using your finger to read the words. Then we're going to read it all together, okay? So let's take a look at the title says, Adapting to Survive. Living things adapt to their environment so they can survive. An organism adapts when it develops a behavior that makes it more likely to survive. It can also adapt by forming a physical characteristic or body part that helps it survive. In a forest biome, some trees grow taller than the other plants around them. This lets them reach the sunlight. Growing taller is an adaptation that helps trees survive. Shorter plants have adapted with their behavior. They've learned to live in the shade with less sunlight. Animals in the forest have a wide variety of adaptations. Monkeys have long tails. They can use them almost like another hand. This helps them swing quickly through the tops of trees. They can even do this while holding their babies or gathering food. Giraffes need to reach leaves at the tops of tall trees. Having a long neck is an adaptation that allows them to do this. Some animals' adaptations prevent other animals from wanting to eat them. A skunk's horrible smell makes larger animals choose something else to eat. Even plants sometimes protect themselves in this way. Roses and acacia trees both have dangerous thorns. The thorns prevent animals from eating their leaves. All right. So before we read this all together, it talked about some animal adaptations that prevent other animals from wanting to eat them. I feel like you mentioned something about a cobra that was kind of the same thing. What did you say the adaptation of the cobra was?
Yeah, the cobra was the flap on the tail of the cobra can expand and make the cobra look bigger.
Yeah, that totally relates to what we have right here, right? If it looks bigger, the animal's going to say, never mind. I don't want to eat this guy. I don't want to fight him. I might lose, right? Okay, let's read this again, and let's read it all together, okay? You ready? We're going to start with the title, okay? Adapting to survive. Living things adapt to their environment so they can survive. An organism adapts when it develops a behavior that makes it more likely to survive. It can also adapt by forming a physical characteristic or body part that helps it survive. In a forest biome, some trees grow taller than the other plants around them. This lets them reach the sunlight. Growing taller is an adaptation that helps trees survive. Shorter plants have adapted with their behavior. They have learned to live in the shade with less sunlight. Animals in the forest have a wide variety of adaptations. Monkeys have long tails. They can use them almost like another hand. This helps them swing quickly through the tops of trees. They can even do this while holding their babies or gathering food. Giraffes need to reach leaves at the tops of tall trees. Having a long neck is an adaptation that allows them to do this. Some animals' adaptations prevent other animals from wanting to eat them. A skunk's horrible smell makes larger animals choose something else to eat. Even plants sometimes protect themselves in this way. Roses and acacia trees both have dangerous thorns. The thorns prevent animals from eating their leaves. Oh man, I don't even have a picture of a rose on here. I guess it's not on here. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple pictures, and I want you guys to tell me, is this bright enough? To tell me what the adaptation was, what they were talking about. Sorry. My iPad is going crazy right now. Here we go. Okay. So what do you see here in this picture? What do you see, Leslie? A skunk. What do you think is going to happen? First of all, Leslie, tell me, what do you think the dog's going to do? Maybe bark? Yeah, what do you think, Bautista? It's going to spray? Yeah. What? Yeah? The dog's going to have a tomato soup bath if it sprays. Yeah, that's possible. Let's look at one more. What do you think's happening here?
Oh!
What do you see, Juan?
A fox and a skunk?
Yeah, what's happening between them? What would you say, Abby? The fox? I think you're right. Do you think it's going to spray, or do you think it's spraying? What do you think, Tovar? Yeah, look at the face of the fox. He's like, I think he can already smell.
Wait, I think the skunk already sprayed and the fox is gonna go like...
That's a good, maybe he already sprayed and the fox is like, why? Why did I come here? What do you think?
I think that the skunk
Mm-hmm.
knew they were doing
Mm-hmm.
before the fox even knew it.
Mm-hmm.
The fox thought that he was
Yeah. That could be it. Maybe the skunk was really well prepared. Let's take a look at this. Do you remember what we talked about in the passage? What adaptation did the monkey have? Do you remember, Abby? Its tail. What can it do with its tail, Jimenez?
Like it's like an arm.
Yeah, it can work like another arm. I have another picture of a monkey somewhere. No, I wish. No, these just come from Google. Yeah, so same thing. You can see that it's using its tail so it can move from tree to tree. What would you like to add? It does kind of look like a spy. I like that. All right, I have just a couple more pictures. They're kind of the same looking, but what adaptation did you remember the giraffe having? What about you, Tovar? Its long neck. What does the long neck help the giraffe to do? Jimenez. To get the leaves. What would happen if it didn't have a long neck? What do you think, Abby? It wouldn't be able to eat anything. Do you have anything to add, Tovar? It could. It definitely could. What would you like to say, Bautista? Mm-hmm. That's definitely possible. It could become extinct. I got one more picture of a lovely giraffe eating some leaves. Have you guys been to the Santa Barbara Zoo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen the giraffes there?
Yes.
I don't know if you guys were alive when they had the giraffe with the crooked neck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were?
I
Okay.
found it.
I think it ended up dying.
Yeah, it did die. And they
Yeah.
put the skeleton neck in the museum.
Oh, wow.
And it told about how the giraffe's neck was like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh, wow. All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for looking here. I'm going to have you guys now, we're going to answer one of the questions together. We're going to see if we can get it from what we read and some of the pictures we looked at. Otherwise, we're going to read it again to find it, right? So the first question says, what are the two main ways that an organism adapts? This is kind of a tricky question. Do you have the answer?
the way one organism adapts is seeing its environment,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how it can survive,
Mm-hmm.
and how the organisms get food.
Okay. Are these where do you find that in the passage? Let's look in the passage. Where can we find the way an organism adapts? Do you know the answer? The two main ways. What does it say? Read it to me.
And when humans adapt, like to balance its a behavior that makes it more likely to survive.
I love it. What are you going to do with that sentence? Yeah. And then there's one more thing. That's one. What's the second one? Did you find it in there?
Yeah. It's got horrible smell. Sergeant Animal,
That is a specific adaptation. Is that a physical adaptation or a behavioral one?
it can also
Huh? It could be. Let's look right after the sentence about surviving. What's the next sentence say, Humanist?
it can also adapt by forming a physical characteristics or body part that helps it survive.
All right, nice job. So what are we going to do with that?
We're gonna get that and plot right and plot
We're going to get it and plop it for the answer. All right, I like it. Good. That's exactly what we're going to do. So we read the text. Maybe we remembered some of the things that I asked when we looked at the pictures, but the things we didn't remember, what did we do to find those answers? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Exactly. We went back to the text, we scanned and searched, we found the answer, we annotated, and then we plop it down for the answer. What time do you guys go to lunch right now? 11:40. Okay, wow. Thank you very much for participating.